This is the last podcast for 2025. And we really thought it'd be fun to do something together as a team to reflect on the year of 2025 and really think about and talk about what we're expecting for 2026.
Mhm.
Next year, 2026, will be the 40th anniversary of the St. Joseph Fund.
Mhm.
As we all know, it was established by Sister Suzanne in 1986. She and the Sisters of St. Joseph had the vision that they wanted a fund, a vehicle to engage in the community.
Mhm.
And if you talk to her today, she will say at the time they were thinking of the root causes. What is causing challenges in the community beyond the clinical model?
Mhm.
As we all know, we're a health system. And so the vision continues. And really want to talk about what do we expect in 2026 for our 40th.
Yeah, I think it's just continuing that tradition. It is one where I think we've evolved since the founding. Always been there. Our foundation has always been there, responding, partnering with community. And I think we've evolved really from being a health care foundation to a health foundation to now centered foundation. So when I look at past 40 years and I think about the next 40 years, one where we still will be partnering,
Mhm.
but really this idea of healing, this commitment to healing, this re-envisioning what healing looks like in our community as an aspect and as the centerpiece of capacity building.
Mhm.
That's the work. We've had a lot of lessons over the last few years. Our Intersections Initiative, specific under Healing Tides, with our Cultivate to Illuminate, Birth Justice. And many of those are continuing, but I see a lot more of this emphasis.
Mhm.
Amy's leading a lot of that. I'm really looking forward to working on a personal note with both of you, continuing our relationship.
Mhm.
I've learned so much from partnership, peer guidance.
It's been an honor to work with you. Reflecting, we always talk about our families. We always talk about our upbringings and how we bring all that wisdom along with our passion to the work that we do every day. And for next year, we will be celebrating our 40th, and we will be introducing Spirit of St. Joseph Award, which will be the first time for us to recognize our leaders, our community, and we will be visiting communities to learn more about all these initiatives.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to spending more time in person. What are we thinking, Miss Amy?
I think I'm just full of gratitude in our core work. I think because we know who we are, and that has become our identity. And so, no matter what the noises are, or no matter what comes up, I feel like we can center our core and our values and our integrity, and I think that will carry us far um, beyond what we can imagine. And so I'm thankful that this unit that we have is where we can be real, where we can continue to bring our gifts to the space, and really center ourselves, because then when we go out to the community, I feel so confident in who we are as people. And I think because we know who we are and what we stand by, our values and the integrity, I think that speaks so much more than everything that's written on paper, everything that's ever written or packaged for newsletters or for reports. I think I love that we are able to bring our true selves in this space, and we keep each other accountable too. And I love the candidness that we have and the levity, despite all the challenges of our world. And so I appreciate that we have our core.
What's your hope for 2026?
To keep going. There's a lot of great work that we have done. Been with the foundation for 12 years. Family has grown.
Mm-hmm.
Our fund foundation family has grown. So this idea of growing, of continued partnerships in our community, continuing the work. Gabby always says, it's going to be a wild year. It's a wild. I've been here 12 years. Every year is a wild year. Every year is something new, a different challenge, whether it be changes in the healthcare field or COVID or certain things pop up in the community, travel, whatnot, expansion. I think that's just the work that we have.
Yeah. Here we are. It's end of 2025. Busy year, right?
A wild year.
A lot going on in the micro, the macro, our families, work, community. What stands out at this point for you guys about 2025?
We're still here.
We're still here.
We're still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I reflect on is at the end of 24, I had an opportunity to meet with Pope Francis, and that was an amazing experience. And then this is the year, the Jubilee of Hope, which really gave, at least for me, that inspiration of finding that inner strength to think about how do we move forward in this time of so much uncertainty, chaos, and at the same time, our community giving us so much strength to move forward. That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know what you guys are thinking about.
Yeah, I think before the year, I think we had already some established goals and some blueprint of what our 2025 would look like. And then to see community adjusting and moving alongside with us, I think that has been the greatest hope, is because we are journeying together along this process. And I think through that, I'm just proud that we have established our current identity of who we are and how rooted we are. And because of that, we have those infrastructures to be able to be nimble and be flexible and continuing to, get ourselves out of uncertainties time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, we're still here.
Yes, we are.
I mean,
we're not going anywhere.
And I think that's, I joke around about that, but it's also, we're still here. All of us are still here. Our partners are still doing a lot of great work. They are needed. I don't like this term, but I'll say it now, now more than ever. The work is very important. And so I draw a lot of hope from our partners and our foundation. Our foundation, the St. Joseph Fund, is here. It's not just still here. It's here, and we're doing a lot of good work. I like to think about our work as being innovative. We embraced our role as a healing-centered foundation, not only focused on capacity building, but really healing-centered aspect of it. And I think that's what our community is really looking towards. What we've heard from our community members that this idea of healing, that's what's going to get us through. So that's where I draw a lot of hope from, because of our partners, because of what they're doing.
And I think about next year will be 40 years that we've been here, right, as you say, and reflecting on the foundation of the fund, which is the Sisters of St. Joseph, and the charisms, their spirituality. And you talk about how we journey with our community. We walk with them. We meet them where they're at. I always think we didn't do it as much this year, but we set the table wherever we're at, even on Teams or Zoom, for community to come and really tell us how best we can serve and partner with them. And I always want to believe that we're relevant, but how can we be more relevant? And I also think about it, and I'm coming from a place of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Our board, we were in Montana this year for the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
We should
That
definitely.
was a highlight.
Was it? Tell me,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Let's
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah, that was definitely a highlight. I think it was also a perfect time because it was the beautiful summer.
Yes.
And then to see our partners being excited for us as well, and then coming together, and also celebrating and also centering joy as we're engaging with our board members. Um, and then, yeah, I look forward to continuing building upon the relationships that we have um, in Montana and beyond.
I think about in Montana, I know we gained so much more from that time with the community.
Mm-hmm.
And Montana is a new community that we're serving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to go, even I was thinking about in the community, not just staying in a hotel. That was really great to just be out in the field
Mm-hmm.
and meet with elders
Mm-hmm.
and with the young generation,
Mm-hmm.
and how the young generation has that sense of commitment to bring that legacy forward into the future, which I think that's how I see the fund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's one where we need to be in community, with community, we need to listen to community. And so when I think of what we did in Montana, that was it. We went in and we had a board retreat, and usually it's very manicured and there's a very cultivated agenda. What we did is we just turned it over to our community partners and said, we're coming up. We're going to be up there a day and a half. The agenda is yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it is this idea that we not only have great partners, but we have trust in our partners. And we don't know any better. In fact, we don't know much. If we were being honest, letting our partners lead the way. And that was something that give up that control, which, if I'm being honest, in the world of grant making and philanthropy, hear a lot about logic models.
Yeah.
And hear about it's very scripted scope of work and things like that. But I really believe if you leave it to community and you trust community, you can never go wrong. And that was an example. We learned so much, and also the trust and faith and the vulnerability that was shared with us. That was authentic. Such a great event. I think it rejuvenated us.
I think so.
Individually, but also as an entire organization, from staff to board. So I think from that point on, that was in July, we've been really thinking about how do we reinforce that in all of our activities and what we're trying to do, not only between now and the end of the year, but also in the year to come in 2026. How does that shape our work on? How do we look at our initiatives a little bit differently? Or in some cases, how do we ensure that we protect that aspect of our work?
One thing I do remember is our partner said, let's do it the Indigenous way, when we went to Montana, which is we didn't have an agenda. And usually it's like you say, it's very key, where we have arrival time at 9 a.m. and then this is when we have lunch and this is who we speak. But then we really went about the day through a organic and storytelling approach. And I think it's something that we can continue to learn, and look at opportunities to continue having these rich dialogues and conversations in a genuine way, and not create or control narratives that don't belong to us.
I want to, again, thinking about the board members, I'm going to break the fourth wall here, but trusting the board members who are watching this, thank you for trusting us, because going into an event like that, or a big convening where there's a lot of travel, and it's like, where's the agenda and what are we doing? It's like, well, just trust. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I know for some folks on our board, maybe that's not what they're used to, but they also put their faith and trust in us as a staff. It's like, look, it's going to be a great experience. Don't worry about it. It was, and so that's something that it's trust in community, but it's also trust in this maybe a little bit of a different way than the traditional grant making organizations do.
And do you think our partners, what are we hearing right now about what they're seeing for the future for next year? You know, I talked to some of them, and I'm always amazed with this sense of we're going to be okay, we're going to make this happen. But I think a lot of people are tired, emotionally, physically, mentally tired. And I don't worry, and I don't. When I think about hope, it's not just to sit here and hope. There's action with that and reality in the community. And so I find myself praying a lot more for community. And I've had community members tell me they're praying for us. So I think that's very special. But what are we hearing for next year? Is there any things or themes that you're seeing in the field at this
I think to follow along the lines of what Jason said about us being a healing center, capacity building, grant making foundation, we often hear that our nonprofit leaders or social impact leaders need to be uplifted. They need to be nourished. I think sometimes when we work with collaboratives and nonprofits, the staffers are doing a multitude of responsibility outside of their scope, working beyond 9 to 5, overnight work, 24/7 work. And they should be nourished and cherished because without their wisdom, their lived experience that come into play, you know, especially when our government infrastructure are being eroded and there's more and more threats and there's more and more hostility, our nonprofit partners are going above and beyond to meet where community is at. And so I think in order to continue to sustain the movement, we really need to uplift and cherish a lot of our nonprofit leaders and social impact leaders who work at the forefront, but also those that are quiet and those that do behind the scenes work, because those are often invisible work and they're not often celebrated. And so as a foundation, when we enter a partnership, how do we identify capacity building offerings that can support and develop a healing approach to continue to sustain the movement work that they're doing?
I think when you're saying that, it reminds me when we first started really focusing capacity building years ago. It looks very different now, right? It's evolved, and I think that's one of the, I would say, charisms of the fund, where we're always evolving, responding, trying to be best positioned to support the community. And healing is capacity building. It's not just the technical, let's put together a business plan for you. It's how do we walk with you? How do we bring some of those gifts to your organization? And that's what I'm excited about, is how we will continue evolving in that space.
Yeah, it's healing and capacity at the different domains. It's as an individual, the individual leaders and the staff members of each organization. It's the organization as a whole. How are we supporting healthy infrastructure? And then as a sector, how is healing infused across collaboratives and partnerships and the sector, both in the nonprofit space and in the grant making space? That, I think, is our work to come. That area. Because what is not healing is like, here's a grant, now go and do. Or here's a grant for quote unquote traditional capacity building, where it's usually a series of workshops and supposedly now your capacity has been built. We know that's not the case. We know that a lot of our community members are carrying this burden on behalf of their community or on the individual lived experience that they've had. And if we don't address that, or if at least don't acknowledge that, it's not going to work out well for anyone. And so for us, it's pausing, it's working with them with that reality, and again, infusing healing in It means for us, maybe we are a bit less formal with our timelines. We use the motto, meet the community where they're at, but it's also meeting the individual where they're at. Having a little bit of flexibility in what we're seeking to create. It's going to be different for each person, for each organization, for each community. And I think that's one of the strengths of the fund. I think that's one of our, we're nimble, but we're also very responsive and very respectful of our community. So I'm looking forward to not necessarily the wildness of the nature of our work, but just the work. And the work means partnership. The work means working with community. It means the centering on this, for us, for the field, this new aspect of healing. I'm excited for that because it's what the community has been asking for. It's what is needed. So I'm excited to be doing that. Working with you all. It's 2026. Here we go.
Here we go. So 2026 will be the wild year again. Looking forward to partnering with the team, with our board, with all of you, the community. And I want to extend the spirit of hope next year, especially as we engage in celebration with the founders, with the board, with the community. So Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.